You can't take care of your business until you take care of yourself.
Nobody cares how you feel.
Do the best that you can to work through the situation that you are now
It's right there. It's the secret to staying motivated.
The marathon is just about seeing long term, seeing a vision, understanding that nothing worthwhile happens overnight, and just sticking to your script long enough to make something real happen.
Turn it up, turn it up, turn it up.
What's up, what's up? Welcome to the first GameTime Podcast. I'm proud to welcome you to the first episode. Today we have a great episode in store for you, but if you're new to GameTime, we're a clothing brand, but we're more than a brand. We're a community of people who are just striving to reach our goals and become successful here on this world. I'm Miles Wilson, the CEO of GameTime Clothing. To the right of me, I have my co-host, Raven Lomax. Introduce yourself.
Like Miles said, I'm Raven. I just help Miles out a lot with Game Time. He kind of just runs everything. He's like the masterminds behind it, but he like runs everything through me just to get like a second opinion on it. But yeah, I mean, I have some stuff I'm working on. I'm an artist, so I have some stuff in my back pocket I don't want to say much about, but hopefully some great things will be happening soon. So yeah.
Getting into today's podcast. The first topic we have today is a topic that I believe everybody goes through. It resonates with everybody. Today we want to just give some of our advice and give some of our experience about how to stay motivated and how to continue to go after your goals even when stuff gets hard. So today we're just going to take a deep dive into our tactics and what we do to stay motivated on this course. So getting into our first segment one being understanding motivation. Throughout the segment, we want to give you, first of all, what is motivation, but also where motivation comes from and what types of motivation you should strive to obtain. So to kick things off, what do you believe motivation is?
I believe like for me, motivation is something that like allows me to do something even though I might not have wanted to do it, or being able to set aside that feeling of something previously being a hassle, like not being a hassle anymore, at least for the time being, and being able to push through it and do what I need to do.
I would second that. I know a lot of us we have these spurts of motivation where it's like 3:00 in the morning and it's like we want to be a millionaire tomorrow, and it's just we'll put in whatever it takes, we'll do whatever it takes, but that motivation always seems to wear off and doesn't seem to last very long most of the time. So just getting to the next question about motivation is where do we think motivation comes from? Where and why do we get motivated? And I personally believe that we get motivated through seeing others. Like I know it's a social media world now, so we go on Instagram, Facebook, and we see everybody else making millions and looking like they're successful in XYZ, but everything's not what it seems on social media. But once we see that, we automatically get this that should be me type mentality, but why isn't that me? And I feel like, or at least I ain't gonna say for me personally, I think for everybody it's just we start comparing ourselves to others, and it motivates us to either get like them, or a lot of times it puts people in depressive states like, why isn't that me? But where do you think motivation comes from? Why do you think we feel that way?
Well, I do agree with you in saying like sometimes when we see others, it inspires us to want to do things on our own. But I also feel like a strong factor in being motivated is the excitement of being able to see your goal or imagine where you're going to be once you finish what you're trying to do. Like I know for me, sometimes when I get excited about something or I see something happening, it makes me motivated to want to do it, or motivated to get out there and start completing these steps in order to get to where I want to go. So I feel like seeing the finish line, or not even seeing the finish line, just having things that make you excited about it are good things to keep you motivated, or to become motivated rather.
So that kind of leads us to our next topic is setting goals. Setting goals is I believe one of the most important things that you have to do if you want to continue to stay motivated along your path and still see a point of continuing. Because a lot of us, we have this broad goal in mind. Like me personally, I want to be a millionaire. So my broad goal is I want to be a millionaire. And obviously that does not happen overnight. So if I only were to stick to this broad goal of I want to be a millionaire, then by next month, I I I have nothing really to say I did it or I did it. I did do it or I didn't do it. It's like there's no steps for me to take to get there, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
I believe that the importance of setting goals is not only having your broad goal, but setting weekly goals, setting monthly goals that you could obtain and that you can accomplish. So there's like, oh, I did this. I'm growing off of what I did last week. So personally, a goal that I set for myself every day is just being better than I was yesterday, or putting in more work than I did yesterday. And I just believe that's another. I feel like that's a saying that everybody's heard before, but it's a really great thing to go by, because if you're improving every day and you're growing every day, then you're moving towards whatever success you want to obtain. But do you have any insight on the importance of setting goals?
So when it comes to setting goals, I feel like there are three different categories of goals that you should set. So it's like short term, mid term, medium term, and long term. But like me, I split those up into like days, I guess weeks and months would be in the same category as mid, and then like year would be like my long term. So like short term be like my daily goals or like my to dos, like, or even I say weekly could fall into short term. But it's like, okay, I gotta get this, and this done. This is what I need to do. By the end of this week, I want to have done this. By the end of this week, I want to have done this. Or by the end of today, I want to do this. So those are like those are short-term goals, which I feel like are very easy to set because they're things that you can see in the near future, things that you can do quickly, and things that will even start you on your goal to set your mid-term goals, which are like monthly goals. So things that you might be going to finish by the end of this month. I know me and Miles, we're having things, probably, especially this podcast is one of those things where it's like, okay, we're in October. By this day in October, by the end of October, we want to have already started doing this and have it like at least running forward so we can continue on for the next month. So those will be like mid goals that you do. And then for like long term goals, like yearly goals, like something like by the end of this year, I want to be in the process of buying a house, or by the end of this year, I want to get a car. That might even be like a monthly thing, but like, it's just different things that you can do. So I feel like by separating those things in different categories, it makes it a lot more organized for the goals that you're gonna set, and it also helps you to set more realistic goals for yourself and to build up bigger goals. Because if you break it down, long-term goals don't seem as impossible.
So yeah, as you can see, the importance of set goals can really dictate your ability to continue down the journey that you want to go on, because of the things that we said earlier. Just a task that if y'all wanted to just practice setting goals and practice getting into that habit. Personally, I have 4 daily goals that I set every day. I want an academic win, so that's a win in school, meaning go to office hours or complete all my homework or something like that. Then I need a physical win, so that's going to the gym, playing basketball, 100 push-ups, just something physical. Then I had to have a spiritual win, that's praying, reading the Bible, watching a sermon, doing devotion, and then I just need an extracurricular. So if it's doing a podcast or resetting the GameTime website or coming out with a new product, just so that I can have 4 daily wins I can check off every day, where it's like, okay, today was a success, or today was a day I needed to improve on. But just for yourself, if you want to use those exact same 4 daily goals as I do, I think it's a great way just to get started with daily goals. But if you have things that you already know that, oh, I need to do this every day, then write them down, put them somewhere you can see them every day, and see if you can check them off every single day. And as you get into that habit, you'll start to see your life turn around. But so yeah, that was setting goals. Getting into segment 3, which is surrounding yourself with positivity. I believe that this is one of, if not the most, I'm gonna say this is a very important segment or a very important topic to talk about when staying motivated, because positivity or the environments that you're around really can influence your ability to keep going. It can make or break you. If you're around negative people telling you that you can't do X, Y, Z, that doubt starts to creep into your mind, and it makes you think that you actually might not be able to do it. So being able to say less and not tell everybody what goals you have or what you're aspiring to do can really benefit you in the long run, because if they don't know your dreams, they can shoot them down. So it's like, I believe that's just another reason not to tell everybody your goals, but to surround yourself with positivity. If you got people that love you and people that are going to pour into you and support you, always surround yourself with those kinds of people and not the people who's going to be envious if you ever make it. So yeah, do you have any experience about how the negative impacts or being in a negative area can impact your journey?
Well, I do. So I know, like, one thing that, like, something I feel like a lot of people might be able to understand, which I have not physically had this problem myself, but I know a lot of people, like, when people go through, like, those points of time in their life where they might feel depressed or they feel like they're going through some type of depression or something, when you lay in the same area and you don't do anything and you're just sad, or you get up, you don't even get up, you just don't leave your room, you don't leave your bed, you do the same thing.
It's been medically proven. Shout out to a VCU student who's studying at VCU Sacramento. It's been proven that what you're describing, sitting in your bed and doing nothing, causes more harmful effects than drinking and smoking. So that's just a crazy dynamic to talk about. But continue.
Well, sitting in your bed, not doing anything, just continuously repeating the same process of things that are just not making you happy, having those same habits that aren't making you better. They might not be making you worse, but I personally feel like if you're adopting habits that don't make you a better person, even if they're not making you worse, you need to just, unless you can find a way to allow them to benefit your life. If they're not benefiting your life, they're hurting your life. Even if it doesn't seem like it, if something's not making you better, then it's making you worse. There's no in between. And so I feel like, I guess adopting habits and continuing a routine of things that just don't make you a better person or don't make you happy or just make you feel like you don't want to get out of bed in the morning are things that are this the exact opposite of motivation. So how can you be motivated if you're doing things that are going to directly fight motivation? I know, like, even like with me, I feel like one of my biggest things is being around people who weren't good for me, or people who, people who like had draining energy. If you're around somebody who's draining you, they're going to be a factor that's not going to allow you to start changing your life and being motivated. Or they could be. It depends. Because now that I'm really sitting here thinking about it, sometimes when people are showing you how much they negatively impact you and negatively affect you, it makes you want to change that situation, therefore making yourself better, if that makes any sense. So I could say, like, people who are negative, people who have negative impacts on you could make or break your motivation. It just depends on what situation you're in and what type of person you are. I feel like it's happened both ways for me. I know it's definitely happened one way for Miles. People who are negative towards Miles are only going to motivate him, at least in his eyes. And I mean, they say haters are your motivators. They ain't even got to be haters. Negative people don't always have to be people who are physically negative towards you. Just anybody or anything that's just not benefiting you is automatically placed in a category of being negative. So look for things that benefit you. Look for people who benefit you. And if they don't, they're not good for you.
All right. Indulging yourself in positive habits and positive routines. Like I said, the daily goals, as we go back earlier, but just having a daily routine of I'm gonna do this or I'm not gonna do this. All right. This is the last segment of the first podcast. This segment right here, I believe is the best topic that I could talk about when talking about motivation, because this is the whole secret to this right here. This is the secret. Has it been leaning down? This right here is the secret to staying motivated. The secret to staying motivated. The secret to staying motivated. To achieving whatever goals you have to do, or becoming successful, is not to stay motivated. I know y'all like, Miles, what? So the secret to staying motivated is not being motivated? Not exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying to value dedication over motivation. Miles, what do you mean by that? What I mean by that, motivation will always wear off. This podcast is about staying motivated, Miles, so why did I watch this whole podcast? Motivation will always wear off. You need to have dedication to get you from them times where the motivation is not there to you still waking up and achieving your goals. Right?
That's very true.
You need to, okay, I'm not motivated. I don't feel like doing this positive habit today. I have to be dedicated to it. I have to still be around the right people and accomplish my daily goals and do my positive habits today because I'm dedicated to becoming X, Y, Z. And that motivation, it's going to be 3 o'clock in the morning. You're going to feel motivated. You're going to be like, yes, I can do this. You wake up next morning, nothing. That's because you wasn't dedicated to it. So yes, motivation is a great fire inside of us. It's the spark. It's the spark that gets us going, but we got to throw wood in that fire every day to keep that fire burning. So yeah, that's just something that I like to live by, because some days when you wake up and you don't want to do it and motivation's not there, you have to be dedicated to get it. Do you I ain't gonna say do you agree with it, because it's the right answer, but how do you feel about the value and dedication of a motivation?
So I feel like when you said dedication regarding motivation, I was not thinking the same thing as you just said. I was thinking like you have to be dedicated to wanting to stay motivated. Like, I don't know if that's what you just said, but like, if you know that certain things are going to put you in a position to not be motivated, you need to be dedicated to removing yourself out of that situation so that you can become motivated. So the dedication that you put in to, like Miles said, what you're doing or wanting to be motivated, I guess moves into what we're about to talk about next. So it's just being consistent in what you're doing.
Motivation will always be there, which is why consistency is so important, because nobody cares how you feel. Like, if you want to accomplish something and you don't feel like doing it and you don't do it, nobody cares that whatever situation you're going through, whatever hardships you're going through, whatever problems you're going through, nobody cares. At the end of the day, you either accomplish whatever you said you're going to do or you don't. If you say you don't accomplish it, but this, but that, but my, at the end of the day, you're not going to accomplish it. So that's why consistency is so important, because on them days where it seems like the world is against you, you're lost, you just don't know where to go next, you still have to be consistent enough to get out of bed and go to work, go to the lab, go grind, no matter, I ain't gonna say no matter how you feel, because we all need to have positive mental states, but even when you're in that bad mental state, you still have to get that work in. But as she talked about consistency, it's just important to stay consistent even when you're not motivated to be consistent.
I mean, I will say, like, some
Here
people
she go
do.
with the emotions.
No, I mean, like, because some people do care. But I think what Miles is trying to say is don't go around with the mindset that everybody is going to give a crap about whatever excuse it is why you can't put in that work. Don't go around expecting everybody to reason with you. Don't go around expecting everyone to be on the same wavelength as you, because there are going to be times where people really don't give a crap about why it didn't happen. They just give a crap about the fact that it didn't happen. So it's just like, should you go around thinking that nobody gives a crap about what's going on with you?
Yes.
You should assume.
Yes.
But there are people who do care, and there are people. So don't think that if you are going through something, make sure you go to those people you feel like do care and you get help. Because positive mental states are very important, and you cannot succeed. You can't take care of your business until you take care of yourself. So, don't go around here assuming that the whole world is against you and nobody cares about your well-being. That's not what he's saying. It's just more like go around assuming that if something were to happen or you couldn't get something done, whoever you're trying to produce this for is not going to give a crap about what you just said. The only thing they're going to care about is why it's not done or why it is, or not even why it's not done. The fact that it isn't done or the fact that it is done. So that's what I was trying to say.
So yeah, this is the example I just thought of on the spot. So, right, is NBA Finals. Game 7. You got the ball. You in the corner, right? You got a cramp. You got a cramp in the stub pinky, right? The ball gets swing to you with 3 seconds left. Boom, miss it. You didn't perform. Your stomach was hurting and your pinky was hurting. At the end of the day, the next day, it's going to be you sold the game, you missed the game-winning shot, you were the reason why it did not get done. Yes, your mama might be like, but my baby was cramping and his pinky was, but nobody else in the world is going to care why you missed that shot. Kobe Bryant is a great person to look up to because he is one of those people who is like, he freaking jammed his finger, popped back in and kept playing because at the end of the day, nobody cares about if his pinky's hurt or not, or if he stayed up all night last night taking care of his 3-4 kids. It's just situations like that. Those excuses are tools of incompetence, and we choose not to use them. It's just another creed that I live by. But yeah, that's.
I will say this though. So like, Miles is probably gonna look at me like I'm crazy, but okay. If something happens that is a factor that might prevent you from doing something, this makes all the difference. Do the best that you can to work through the situation that you are now in. You might not be able to perform top tier the way that you would have been able to before the circumstances hit. But it makes all the difference to take those circumstances and automatically assume that you're not going to be able to do it and not even try, versus taking those circumstances and fighting as hard as you can through them to get what you can get done until everything gets back to normal. And that makes all the difference. Like the situation which you just said with Kobe. He pops his finger out, pops it back in, whatever. It would have made all the difference if that would have happened and he would have been like, I can't play no more, because that's something happened to him. Period. If he would have been like, I can't play no more, my finger, I mean, it's valid. You popped your finger, that probably hurt, you got to bounce a basketball, whatever, that's valid. However, it made all the difference when he kept going and did the best that he can in the pain that he was probably in to finish the game, even if he couldn't perform the exact same way he would have been able to perform before. So it's more like a push through. Don't assume that you're going to be able to perform the exact same way you wouldn't have been able to, because you're not going to be. But yeah, don't just give up when something happens. But try to push through those circumstances, even though something's going on. That's more like Miles is going to give it to you like a nobody gives a crap type way. I'm trying to be more like, some people do care, but assume they don't care.
And
I think Miles is being meaner about it. I'm being nicer about it.
Let us know down in the comments which approach you like better. The real world and whatever she talking about. So yeah, that wraps up the first podcast. That's the last segment. So yeah, today we talked about what motivation is, how to set goals to stay motivated throughout your path, why staying consistent is so important,
being in a positive environment and having positive energy around you to help you stay motivated as well.
And then most importantly, valuing dedication over motivation, which is ironic that the title of this episode is staying motivated, but my main word of advice to you is to value dedication over motivation. So yeah, remember, motivation is not a constant state, and your dedication is going to keep you going until you're motivated again. So yeah, I hope you guys found these tips helpful. Hope they assist you on unleashing your inner drive. That's the title of the podcast. I think that's a good title. If it's whack,
Unleashing your inner drive.
yeah, ChatGPT came up with it. So yeah, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, GameTime, for more inspiring content. As always, I'm gonna be coming out with more podcasts. I'm gonna try to do podcasts once a week. I'm gonna try to do a YouTube video once a week. The YouTube channel is gonna be more GameTime clothing oriented, and this is gonna be more like a motivational podcast, just for us to come to y'all, be transparent about what we're going through and what we're doing to try to achieve our goals. And I hope that you guys could be transparent with us in the comments, or just reaching out and just telling us what you're doing, and if we're helping, if we're not, if the podcast is whack, if y'all like it, just giving us any feedback, because we're in the bottom of a building with an arcade right behind us in a random room. Like, we're just
working with
trying
what
to
we
get
have.
stuff done. So yeah, that's the end of podcast 1. We appreciate everyone for listening.
Make sure you visit the website, thegametimeclothing.net, and go buy you some apparel.
And as always, there's never a better time to start than right now. Go. Boom, boom, boom. I don't know. We can have a cool little.